So there are a few things. First, if you want to talk to me, share or ask questions, I think this system of notebox is rather outdated. We have become digitalized. So communicate to me on Viber. If you don't have one, get an app and you will have. Lior has my address. So in that way our communication will be more simple and natural. Viber is an app that most of the students are using in the teaching. Next, I will be doing in the hall transmissions in person, and it is inconvenient that every time I ask if you are okay with that, or you would rather sit quietly with yourself. So if someone does not want, write a note. In this case you can put in the notebooks. And next, someone asked me about the meaning of realization of everything, because I have mentioned that Human is everything, and in one of the talks I said that I have realized everything. When I said I have realized everything, it should not be misinterpreted that I have nothing more to realize. What it means that I have realized the space of everything. Space of all. But within that realization, from my intelligence and through love, both human and divine, I am expanding into that everything. And since everything is limitless, so there's no limits to this expansion. As to Human, his everything is a bit different. He is experiencing everything from a, let's say, different angle. He is living in a space, or rather he is space, which has no content. But from that place he can experience everything. He can understand everything. He can expand into everything. Very difficult to convey, and it's not that I fully understand it. Still, he is in a different reality. Anyway, a time will come where my everything and his everything, which is, I think, superior, more transcendent, at some point his everything and my everything will conjunct. I hope soon. One more thing regarding Human. One of the ways to connect to him deeper is just look at his picture. Look into his eyes. Because who he is in his eyes. He has changed, indeed. He is no longer an individual, but the essence of who he is and remains to be is in his eyes. You can feel in his eyes who he is, in his essence, and also his love. We have changed so much. But the essence, if you look at these pictures, essence of who we were is still part of the present. Now, continuing back to the work, continuing the subject of forgiveness, the most difficult type of forgiveness is not to forgive others or to ask for forgiveness, but it is to forgive oneself. And it is so important, difficult, okay, but so important. Everyone carries Of course, to different degrees, but still, the sense of guilt and shame. And it is all connected to other emotional issues, unworthiness, not feeling good enough, not deserving happiness. It's all connected. And that guilt and shame undermines all the time your psychological well-being. You can push it away, you can disregard it, ignore it, but it is still there. To forgive others is easier because shame is deeper than blame. You can be ashamed because you have done something that you regret. Or because you are not meeting your own expectations, how you should be. Or that you have a sense of failure. There are many types of shame. But at the essence, it's kind of the same thing. You cannot put your finger on it. And what it actually points to, because everything is information, what it is pointing to is that something has to transform in your relationship with yourself. You try to be nice to yourself, you try to love yourself, accept yourself, you do all your affirmations, but nothing really works. Because you did not go to the core. And you don't really love yourself. You don't know how. You don't know how to love, and you actually don't know whom to love. because you are still a mystery to yourself. You are separated from yourself. You are separated from the one that you are supposed to love. He is a stranger. So you try to love stranger and it does not work. So in this meditation, we would like to invite you to go to your heart and to get in touch with that sense of guilt and shame. Okay, maybe it's not your main issue, some of you, but everyone has it a little bit. And even a little bit is too much. Okay. Lior, okay. We go to the heart and just think, is there any emotion in your heart, any energy that is resonant with the feeling of guilt or shame? You need to, and you need to open the space in order to experience certain emotions in your heart which are hiding. They are hidden. They are concealed in your heart. It's not that you go to your heart and immediately you feel it. You need to your heart. Lior? That guilt and shame are serious matters. We need to resolve it. The ability to forgive yourself is like a foundation of emotional health, sanity. There can be many sources of that feeling of guilt or shame, even if you have been at some point harshly criticized and you felt so bad about yourself that that experience entered your heart. And you still are guilty. You're feeling guilty. Not good enough. You cannot accept on a deeper level. You are sabotaging your relationship with yourself just because something has happened in the past and you have not resolved it. Whatever it is, feel it. Enter to the core of it. That core of guilt. The thing about self-forgiveness, similar as forgiving others, actually it is supposed to be unconditional. You are not trying to convince yourself that you are good enough. Or there's no reason for you to blame yourself for something. Imagine that you are forgiving someone else unconditionally. Which you are supposed to. I mean, that is the highest level of forgiveness. Why can't you forgive yourself unconditionally? Why is it more difficult? It is more difficult because when you forgive others, you don't have to go to the core of your own pain. They're outside of you. You just let them go and you release all these karmic obligations. But when you are supposed to forgive yourself, you have to go into that pain in your heart. That's why it's difficult. At the core, at the center of that pain is absence of self-love. A void. That endless search for love from your parents, from your partners, other people. How could it be ever fulfilled if you don't actually love yourself? So there's a place where that absence of self-love becomes guilt in your heart. You need to go into that pain experience it fully, and going into that pain is the first real expression of self-love. That pain dissolves not because you replace it with positive thinking. It dissolves because it is unreal. It is like a vacuum inside you, breathe into it, let it dissolve, feel it fully. It is not real, but yet it existed with you for a long time, and it's time for it to go. As long as there is even a trace of self-blame, guilt or shame, it means that you are against yourself. And just let it go. Forgive yourself means just to let it go, to release. You are not really forgiving yourself, you are just releasing it. If you are able to really let go of that, after experiencing it at its essence, that energy becomes released and your heart is more free. You can breathe more freely. And that sabotaging emotion will no longer disturb your life, your psychological integrity.